Howdy hunters! I got a lot of comments on my Beginner's Guide to All Stats video asking that I go into more depth on the equipment skills and decorations, so that's what I'm going to do. This video is still going to be aimed mainly at beginners, so don't expect me to go over anything like optimal endgame sets. I'm not going to be talking about the meta a whole lot. I'm just going to explain what skills are, how they work, and I'm going to be going over some of the best skills for each weapon, as well as what skills you should be using just in general for any weapon. Starting off with built-in skills. We can see that almost every single piece of equipment in the game comes with skills pre-attached. For armor, this is your deciding factor on which armor you should wear. Defense and elemental resistances can be useful when you're really struggling, but the most important game-changing stats come from the equipment skills. When you're deciding which armor to use, keep in mind the differences between the alpha and the beta sets. Alpha sets come with more equipment skills preset on them, while the beta sets have more slots. This Raidou Alpha helmet has no slots, 2 levels of latent power, and 1 level of evade extender, while the same helmet on the beta tree has a level 3 slot with only 1 level of latent power and a level of evade extender. Generally, it is best to just go for the beta set. Having the slots and the customizability that comes with them is way more important than most of the preset skills that you'll have access to on these armor pieces. These slots allow you to attach what are called decorations, which you can earn through various means, and I'll go over that later in the video. Decorations are items that imbue equipment skills of your choosing onto weapons and armor. There is a decoration for every skill, and there are even decorations that grant multiple levels of certain skills, or even multiple skills at once. The more powerful a decoration is, the higher its level will be, and the higher the slot's level will have to be to equip the decoration. You can see that this insect glaive has 3 slots, all of different sizes. The size indicates the slot's level, which indicates the maximum decoration that can be placed into the slot, while the number of slots indicates how many decorations can be attached to the weapon, with each slot being a single decoration. This one has 3 slots, so it can have up to 3 decorations on it. That means I could attach a level 3 decoration, a level 2 decoration, and a level 1 decoration. Although you don't need to place a decoration of a matching level into the slot. That's just the maximum level that can fit in that slot. To earn decorations, you simply hunt monsters. When viewing monsters on the map, you can see a list of guaranteed rewards for hunting that monster. These rewards can include items called orbs, which come in 3 different rarities and 2 different types. The types are weapon and armor, meaning that the orb will give you a decoration that can be attached to either a weapon or a piece of armor. The rarities, from lowest to highest, are mystery, glowing, and then ancient. There are useful decorations that can be obtained from the lower 2 rarities, mystery and glowing, but the majority of decorations that you'll really want will come from the ancient orbs, which are only obtained from harder monsters. You can also meld weapon and armor orbs, or even specific decorations, by talking to Vio at the melding pot in Suja. Wyverian melding allows you to meld the orbs themselves. This is a great way to meld in bulk, although you're not going to know what you'll get from this. If you choose meld decorations, then you'll be given a list of decorations from which you can choose whichever one you want and use materials or decorations that you already have to meld it. You won't be able to meld much at first, but as you increase your hunter rank, your options will expand significantly, so check back every now and then to see what you can meld. Keep in mind when melding decorations that you cannot meld level 3 decorations. These are only obtained from the ancient orbs by either melding those or getting them from hunting monsters. And again, these are the best ones, so you'll want to make sure to get a lot of these. The fastest way to get the best decorations, aside from melding ancient orbs specifically, is to just hunt monsters. Let's open up our map here, and we'll look at what we have. This Ajaricon in the Wounded Hollow is giving a lot of decorations. While none of them are ancient, because Ajaricon just isn't strong enough to give those, it is a good number, and it could still be worth doing this hunt. To get the strongest decorations, however, the ancient orbs, you need to hunt apex monsters and monsters of a similar or greater strength. This Uthduna is offering 3 total ancient sword orbs, so I would get 3 level 3 weapon decorations that I could use. I also have a good number of investigations that I've saved for the purpose of decoration farming. This one here offers me 8 total ancient sword orbs and 2 ancient armor orbs. That's a pretty good number. If you ever find a hunt that has good decoration rewards, then be sure to save it as an investigation. This Uthduna here has 1 ancient armor orb and 2 ancient sword orbs. Not the best, but it's still worth saving, so that I can do it later up to 3 times. Once it's saved, I could also do it right now and get 4 total uses out of this hunt, meaning quadruple these rewards. It's also worth checking SOS flare quests and sorting by investigations. Here we have a pretty good Jin Dahad investigation that gives 4 total armor ancient orbs and 2 sword ancient orbs. There's also an Arkfeld that gives 2 sword ancient orbs and 3 armor ancient orbs. With all of the explanations out of the way, I'll show you how this all works by walking you through my current build and explaining why I've chosen what I have. Starting with my armor, I have the New Udra Helm Beta. All of my armor is beta for the slots, and I've chosen New Udra because it has 2 level 2 slots, pretty good, along with a level of Resentment and Counterstrike. I like those skills, so I wanted to have them. The other 4 pieces of my armor are Gore Magala armor. These have really good preset skills, including Evade Window, Constitution, and Antivirus. The Gore Magala armor also has a really good set bonus called Gore Magala's Tyranny. Gore Magala's Tyranny gives Black Eclipse, which forces you to be infected with the Frenzy every time you start fighting a large monster. You may know that recovering from the Frenzy virus when fighting a frenzied monster or Gore Magala gives you a boost to your affinity. Well, Black Eclipse also gives you an attack boost. So while it does infect you with the Frenzy virus, which can be seen as a negative, it gives a lot of benefits to go along with that. Paired with that, I have Antivirus on the legs. Antivirus makes it easier to overcome the Frenzy virus and cure yourself, and then it also gives you some extra affinity on top of what curing yourself already gives you. As for my decorations, I have 2 refresh jewels on my helmet because I like to use the bow, and refresh is very good for bow. I then have Tenderizer, which gives weakness exploit, which essentially just increases your affinity by a pretty good chunk. You can see that I have 3 different Tenderizer jewels, and the Exploiter Charm 2, which gives 2 levels of weakness exploit, bringing my total to weakness exploit 5. I then have 3 mighty jewels, which give me a total of level 3 maximum might, which you can see is the maximum. And on these boots, which already have 1 level of antivirus, I have 2 sane jewels, which give 2 additional levels of antivirus, bringing it to the maximum of 3. And for the sake of playing online, I have 1 shockproof jewel, which gives shock absorber. I strongly recommend this skill for multiplayer play because it prevents you from dealing any friendly fire or from even taking friendly fire, meaning nobody around you should be flinching and falling over from your attacks, and you will not be falling over from anybody else's attacks. And now for my weapon. I am using an Artian weapon as my primary insect glaive. Artian weapons do not have preset equipment skills on them, but they do all have 3 level 3 slots. That's the best slot arrangement that you can possibly get in Wilds. Using these slots, I've given myself the best decorations that I can possibly fit. I do hope to eventually get better decorations to put in here, as this could be a little further optimized, but this is pretty good for now. My focus when building this set was to get weakness exploit and antivirus, because antivirus pairs very well with Gore Magala's Tyranny, and weakness exploit is just kind of the strongest skill in the game. Most of the other skills on here, like Constitution and Evade Window, are just nice bonuses that happened to be on the pieces of armor that I needed. These are great skills on their own, but I wasn't building for them. I just happened to get them, and I am thankful for it. Ideally, I would try to also fit in something like a critical jewel. What the critical jewel does is it grants you critical boost, which increases the damage of your critical hits. By default, a critical hit is 25% extra damage, but if you can max out your critical boost, that's 40% extra damage. Paired with maximum weakness exploit and a few other things, you're essentially at a 100% critical chance. So if you can max out critical boost, your damage is just increased permanently by 40%. It's very powerful. Unfortunately, I don't have a critical jewel 3 yet. Having that would greatly improve my build, and until then, I'll just have to keep trying. Now, what I'm using is more of a meta build with a focus on getting the biggest damage numbers I can as easily as I can. This build doesn't do much to change my actual playstyle, nor does it take survivability or team support into account. It's just for getting big damage. There are tons of other skills you can use to make your time with the game more enjoyable, and the skills are really a system meant for customizing the game to your personal playstyle. For example, if you want to be a healer of sorts, you can use the wide range skill, which is gotten from the Friendship Jewel, to make your consumables affect your whole party instead of just yourself. This synergizes really well with the Speed Eating skill, and even the Mushroomancer skill, which is a super fun skill that allows you to eat raw mushrooms, with each mushroom granting a different effect. Or, if you're having a difficult time with a fight, you could use skills like Evade Window, Evade Extender, Defense, Divine Blessing, and many others to make it harder for you to take damage in the first place. Now we're going to go over each of the 14 weapons, and I'm just going to give you 1 or 2 skills that are really helpful on that weapon. Something to keep in mind for whichever one you use. Starting with the Greatsword, Focus is a fantastic skill here. If you play the Greatsword, you know that you're going to spend a lot of your time charging up your weapon and building up to that true charge slash. The focus skill makes those charge times faster, meaning that you can throw attacks out faster and deal more damage. Guard and guard up are also pretty useful on the Greatsword since it has a very effective block, and this will make it even more effective. If you enjoy frequently sheathing, which is very viable with the Greatsword since it's one of the slower weapons, something like Critical Draw can help boost your damage output despite you often sheathing. For Longsword, I'd recommend Quick Sheath. The Longsword revolves strongly around countering, and those counters rely on you sheathing your weapon. For Sword and Shield, I'd recommend using skills that boost your elemental or status output, because the Sword and Shield is very effective at both of those things. Something like Guard is also very effective on Sword and Shield because Sword and Shield is really easy to get perfect blocks with, and Guard will make those perfect blocks even more useful. Sword and Shield is also capable of blunt damage, so a skill like Slugger will get you those stuns a lot quicker. Dual Blades will greatly benefit from increased elemental damage and status damage. Dual Blades will also need skills like Refresh and Constitution to keep your stamina up, because this weapon chews through stamina. Hammer is another weapon that, like Greatsword, has a lot of charged attacks, so Focus will help you out there, as will KO since the hammer does exclusively blunt damage, and the Charge Up skill, which is exclusive to the hammer and gives you more stun power when you're using the hammer's charged attacks. Hunting Horn will also benefit from skills like Slugger because it does blunt damage, but there are also skills like Horn Maestro, which are exclusive to the Hunting Horn and boosts the strength of your horn melodies. Lance has a strong focus on guard, and so skills like Offensive Guard, Guard, and Guard Up are going to be really helpful here. For Gun Lance, you're going to want something like Artillery, which boosts your shelling damage and increases Wyvern's fire speed. As another weapon capable of blocking and perfect blocking, the Gun Lance will also benefit from Offensive Guard, Guard, and Guard Up. Load Shells from the Magazine Jewel is also very useful for the Gun Lance, as it increases your loading capacity and reload speed. Switch Axe, depending on which file you're using, will benefit from elemental damage skills and status skills. This weapon will also benefit from the Rapid Morph skill, which decreases the time it takes to switch between sword mode and axe mode. Charge Blade will also benefit from Quick Switch, as well as Artillery, which will increase the damage of your file attacks, Load Shells, which boosts the Charge Blade's capacity, Offensive Guard, because of all the guard points and counters you'll be doing, and depending on which Charge Blade you're using, various status and elemental skills. The Insect Glaive does not have very many skills that are considered to be required like other weapons have. Power Prolonger applies to Insect Glaive, as does Focus, but the optimal playstyle for Insect Glaive makes Power Prolonger useless, and the benefit you'll get from Focus is very, very negligible. Insect Glaive does chew through sharpness more than some other weapons, and so something like Razor Sharp or Handicraft will be really helpful for this weapon. The Airborne skill can give you a good damage boost, because a lot of the Insect Glaive's attacks, including its most powerful attack, are jumping attacks. Now, I'll admit I don't use bowguns a whole lot, and so I don't have a great idea of what the best skills for these weapons are, but I do know that skills like Piercing Shots and Spread/Power Shots will boost your damage output with these weapons, along with Rapid Fire Up and Opening Shots. Guard Up, Guard, and Offensive Guard can be useful on the heavy bowgun, as that weapon is capable of blocking. You may also see some use out of the Special Ammo Boost skill and the Artillery skill. Bow is going to benefit immensely, like the Dual Blades, from skills like Refresh and Constitution, because you will be dashing a lot with the bow, and that uses a lot of stamina. Firing your weapon also uses stamina. As far as boosting your damage goes, Spread is really good for the bow. You're going to be using the Power Shots and Quick Shots pretty often, and so it's good to have those dealing more damage than normal. And Piercing Shots is also quite powerful, with the Dragon Piercer being one of the stronger moves available. The various coating jewels like Paracoat and Sleep Coat are also going to be useful if these are coatings that you need, but the bow you're using doesn't already have them. Evade Window is also really useful on bow, as it is with Dual Blades, because you have that perfect dodge that you can do, and Evade Window will make it easier to do that. If you're using an elemental bow, I would also suggest using the corresponding elemental attack decoration to boost that damage as much as you can. Now, if you just want general use decorations, those are going to be things like Critical Eye, Weakness Exploit, Evade Window, anything that can apply to all weapons no matter the playstyle, things that are just a flat damage boost or that affect your hunter instead of your weapon, you're going to want to make use of these. But I'm going to let you in on a secret about the skills in this game. There may be objective best skills if you're looking for the biggest damage numbers, but there is no objective most fun. The skill system in Monster Hunter is very robust, and it can allow for a large variety of builds, anything from pure defense to pure offense to pure support and and everything in between. You can do it using whatever combination of skills you want. It's super customizable, and it really frees up the game to be played in whatever way that you personally find the most enjoyable. It can be really easy to feel like you need a meta high damage set like I'm using, but please try everything else in the game. There's a lot of fun that you can have by just creating your own builds, using the less popular skills, and figuring out what you enjoy the most. That'll just about do it for this video. Again, this was aimed mainly at beginners, so there's going to be some detail that was missing from this. If there's more that you want to know, please let me know in the comments, and I'll consider making a more intermediate focused video on the same topic. There are also plenty of other channels out there that cover these things in near excessive detail, like Rage Gaming videos, SD Shepherd, Eric's Gaming, and plenty of others. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and help me out. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, I've got plenty more on the way, so go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss future uploads. And let me know in the comments which equipment skills you enjoy using the most. And as always, take care and happy hunting.